Welcome to Brian's Action Figure Reviews. Today I've got another pop culture interview, and my guest today is Lee Baldwin of Diorama Boy. He makes his own dioramas. I'm going to let him tell you the rest. So I'm going to stop rambling, and here we go with the interview. Hi everyone, welcome back to Brian's Action Figure Reviews. I'm here with another pop culture interview, and today's guest is Lee Baldwin of Diorama Boy. How are you, Lee?
I'm good. Yeah, yourself?
Not so bad. So I'm going to start fairly quickly. And can you tell us what got you into diorama building?
Yeah, well, about 6 years ago, I'd got into the figure groups. I think it was Action Figure UK that I got into first. I think I'd found my way there looking for G.I. Joe figures.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know how I got onto it, but that was probably just searching. That was the most prominent group at the time. And then from being in that, I'd seen Louise Townend, the diorama queen.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. I'd seen her work, and I thought I had a bit of a background. I was a graphic designer before like the job I do now. And I'd seen it. I thought, do you know what? I fancy having a go at this here. So it was more just for myself, really, initially.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, where do you get your inspiration when you go to make a piece?
Yeah, well, it's hard because there's that many things done all the time. I've started. I did a thread on dio structure that was saying, post pictures of things that you see while you're out and about. A lot of the alleyways I build, you'll never see them over here. And if I go behind the co-op on the local shops, you don't really want your Marvel figures on the back of a co-op. You want like something in downtown New York or something.
Yeah.
I have started doing a bit more where I'll have a look on Google at some images of just any building that I see on there and think I might do my own take on that. Yeah, that's
cool. Is there something that you haven't done yet that you would absolutely love to build?
I have, but I don't think it's anything anybody would want. It's just something I've always fancied doing, and it sounds stupid, but just like a rundown swimming baths. I don't know why. I've never seen it in a film. I don't know what figures you'd put with it, but I've always had that. I was telling Ian Hughes, who's in the groups, fantastic photographer. I was telling him the other day that I fancied doing it. But
is that kind of like the stuff you'd see probably in gladiator type movies and stuff like that, or more modern kind of take?
More modern stuff, I think I like. I've sort of started swinging to. I try and put myself in the. I mean, I collect myself, but I don't really display anything on dioramas. But I try and think, what would a toy photographer want? What would somebody who has the stuff in a D12 shelf want? Yeah. And I tend to just do that. I just try and think what they'd enjoy taking the pictures of. So.
What kind of planning and stuff and materials goes into building a dio?
Yeah, it's the foam. I get the foam from Hobbies. That's the main thing that I use, and pretty much everyone else does. The Americans have a thicker stuff, and we have we tend to use the 1 or 2 centimeter or the half a centimeter stuff to for the thinner bits.
Yeah.
Bits of balsa wood. Anything you see around the house, really, I'll keep it and use. I've got a garage just full of stuff, and I see other people do it as well. I've just picked up some metal off Jason Hill. Little bits that I can use for mesh for windows. Yeah, anything that you see, really. Yeah.
Would you draw something up first, or
more often than not I will. I pretty much will slope off in work, find myself a quiet office, turn all the lights off so no one knows I'm there, and I'll be constantly scribbling stuff down on it. Any bit of paper I can get my hand on. I mean, I'm sitting here before we started, and I'm scribbling. If I see a pen and a bit of paper, I'm designing something. Yeah.
That's excellent. So, what got you into collecting? What kind of figures did you collect as you were growing up?
Oh well, I'm 40 now, so I was all through the 80s. It was heaven for toys. And, I mean, I've got 2 boys now, 10 and 6, so I'm like a big kid, and I go to Smith's with them at every opportunity I can, under the illusion that it's for them, but it's really just for me to check out what it is. But it was G.I. Joe. I had the Star Wars figures, obviously. I had all of them, but from an early age, it was all about articulation. It
Yeah.
was massive for me. You could give me one of the old, I think they were called Action Force.
Yeah, they
And
were up here. Yeah.
they had no articulation. I think they had like a bend in, the legs moved and the arms went up and down. And I was like, no, I want G.I. Joe. I want that elbow bend.
Yeah.
When he breaks, I'm going to fix him myself with my little screwdriver. I'm swapping his head, and it was that Visionaries, mask. And I was lucky enough when I was younger, a few trips to Florida, and I'd be straight in the Toys R Us as the Dick Tracy figures at the time.
Yeah,
And I don't know if you ever saw them. The series was called Cops, and they were like G.I. Joe, but they were almost like 6-inch scale, but they were G.I. Joe build,
yeah,
with the elastic band and that. Oh, anything like that, yeah. But I got back into it through buying a Revoltech figure. That's what reignited it. It was a bit. I'd started getting a few G.I. Joes because I'd found my old ones in a box, and I thought, I wonder what's out there now. This was when I was probably me early 30s. This, so I'd got the Revoltech. I think it was something off Robotech. And then it just went from there. Then once I joined that the AFC UK, that was me. I was in. Full
all
on.
in then. So, what would be your favorite character from a pop culture standpoint?
It's hard, that one. Yeah. I love Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I don't know if you've seen that, but he's my favourite. He's just cool as Christmas, that fella. Yeah. Other than that, I'm sort of swinging it out of Marvel and DC. I like Batman.
Yeah.
But I can. As some of the lads who know me in the groups know, I've never dove into the world of Marvel myself. Big, But I love Thingio as well. Sorry, Vegeta.
Oh, I love.
He's the man. Yeah.
I just love the pure stubbornness and.
Yeah, I do.
Pride.
Just loses his head, doesn't he? Like me.
Like I'm a pretty late adapter to Dragon Ball. I only started watching the last.
I'm the same. Yeah.
But yeah, he's always stood out to me.
Yeah.
So, what would be your favorite franchise?
It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's the one for me. All the I started. Jake Baxter Taylor got me into the figures because he'd posted a couple. I got talking to Jake very early in the groups, and he was great. Got me into. I'd had a fleeting thing with manga when I was younger, but I didn't have any mates who were into that stuff because I played me football and what have you. And it was my little dirty secret that I used to watch Bravo late at night, watching like Space Adventure Cobra. So he got me into JoJo, and then he told me all about it. And the next thing, I've got 80 figures, and I'm watching all the stuff, reading the manga. So that's my favourite sort of thing at the minute.
Perfect. But I was just saying, it's crazy how it's changed over the past few years. Like where before you kind of had to hide if you like that kind of stuff now, whereas it's everywhere now. Like.
Oh, massively. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, I work with some big burly guys who are jailers, and they'll ask me about, what's that you're building there, or what are you drawing there, and I tell them, and they're like, what do they do with these? Like, who has them? And I know a good mate of mine, hard as nails, Scouser, and he would have a little chat on the sly about how big he was into DC and Marvel and all this. It's like our little secret, but so now it's quite acceptable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I always ask everyone on the show is, what figure line would be a dream to you? So basically, you could pick any franchise but made by any toy maker. What would it be?
I've always wanted these. I don't know if you ever was you a gamer in your youth? The SNES, Secret of Mana. I don't know if you ever played that.
RPG.
Yeah, it was massive. I loved it. I remember paying about 80 quid for it in about 1993 or whatever it was. And because it was 3-player, I'd be the hero guy. My sister would be the woman, and my brother would be the little sprite thing. But anything by them. But I probably Figma, if Figma could make them, because I think they're really good with stuff like that. They sort of game stuff. Yeah, definitely that.
I had the Metroid from Figma a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I've had that. Yeah, it's good. Isn't it? The links are all brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah, excellent. So what you can do now is you can plug your page and your group and where people can find you for commissions and what have you.
Yeah, well, my group's Diorama Boy on Facebook. That's built up quite a bit. I've got like 600 members in there, and me Instagram is, I think it's Diorama Boy lowercase. I'm not so much with the commissions at the minute. I'm just building what I want to build and what people. Every time I build one, I could probably sell it 10 times over, and I want to move on to something else, and then they're asking me to do something. But I'm just keeping on with what always been my mantra is we're not all made of money. It's an expensive hobby, collecting the figures. I know myself, I've spent bloody thousands on it. But I want to make the dioramas are a nice little treat, aren't they, to have?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
As opposed to paying a fortune for them. I've always wanted to keep them affordable to everyone. Because it's a lot of money to weigh out. If you're paying £80 for a Mezco, you don't want to be going out paying another £100, £200 for a diorama to put it on. So that's why I did the raffles in Grimace. The Jay and the lads there were great. So yeah, that's just what I want. Just keep churning them out and keep it low for people. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. So thanks for coming on for the interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Flew through it. So yeah, everybody check out Diorama Boy on Facebook, and of course I'll have your links in the description. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for coming on, man. We'll see you again. Okay.
Thanks for having me.